start, make a nice little bag to begin. And we'll move on to a dab. I'll speed around this bag while we're waiting for some folks to show up. Yet another short stream, by the way. I'll reiterate that again later. Grovel, my friend! It's been way too long. How long have you been, Grovel? It is so good to see you. Or talk to you, even. Stephanie, hello! And, 13, good to see you again. And, of course, Billary Clinton. Couldn't be a live stream without some Billary. Hey, how you doing, man? My dogs are all excited. They think, like, somebody is home, which is what I have to leave as well. Short stream again. But when I'm getting all excited and talking, they're like, oh my god, somebody's here. This is exciting. And I disappoint them always. Glad to see you've been doing well, Grovel. It is a strange time for us all, so it's good to check in, you know, even more than usual. Make sure we're all doing okay. Anybody out there find that they have actually found some of their old relationships with friends have gotten closer since the pandemic has begun? I've in a couple of cases that's definitely true for me. The sort of continually plugged in nature, plus there is no other thing to do other than be at home on the internet, has had the fortunate byproduct of sort of making it much easier to rekindle with old friends. I've been playing some board games with a board game group that I used to be a part of way back when, years ago. So we've been playing like a weekly online board game session through Discord. It's been great. And I bet I'm not the only one who is experiencing one of those few upsides to this whole thing. Rick Greenwood says, evening, dude. Well, evening yourself, Mr. Greenwood. Then we've got Dallas Prince says, cheers, Alan, Irene, Dabs here. Alien Irene. Not Alan. Excuse me. Although I guess the only thing that really differentiates Alan and, well, I don't think anybody spells Alan A-L-L-E-N. Maybe not. Who knows? 13 says, I don't know, man. The pandemic really hasn't changed much at all for me. Still going out, hanging out with friends, still getting high. Well, man, I am glad your life has been relatively unmolested by this global pandemic. Consider yourself lucky. I think probably not the case for a lot of people out there, but I'm very happy for you, man, that life is just as pleasant for you now as it was, 7 months ago, 8 months ago. God damn. Time. Just, it's a slippery thing right now, is it not? Let's finish this bag. I said I was going to split that. And I've been using Streamlabs, which I've paid money for, and I am failing at the multi-streaming aspect of it. I should be on, like, Twitch and some other things, though I don't believe that I actually am. Oh wait, this. Okay, it looks like I'm on Twitch, just nobody loves me there as much, you know. Who knows? Streamlabs, great stuff. Rick Greenwood says, no, at 64, they seem to be DLing faster. I'm not sure what that means. I'm already that far behind. Tardigrade A 6000 said, "Dude, have you ever considered quitting weed?" What do you mean by quit? Tardigrade A 6000. I'm just gonna say Tardigrade A. Maybe missing some E's there, but have I ever considered quitting weed? It depends on what you mean by quit. Do you mean, do I intend to give up weed for the rest of my life? Do I intend to abstain? Is that a desire of mine? And no, absolutely not. Is my answer to that question. I have no desire to ever quit in any permanent sense. I do tolerance breaks from time to time. Probably should do one again pretty soon. It's been quite some time. This pandemic has made it not more difficult to do tolerance breaks, but the sort of natural rhythms of life that usually can help you force tolerance breaks upon yourselves haven't really existed. So, but maybe I should. In terms of tolerance breaks, yeah, I like to quit every now and then for all kinds of purposes. And sometimes just for shits and giggles, just because I want to go a week or two without being high. But I don't have any real desire to abstain in any permanent sense. Certainly no bad vibes or nothing, no ill will directed at anybody who that is a goal for. More power to you, in fact. I wish you all the best. It is just not what I'm looking for right now, but who knows how things will fare, you know. I was going to say 5 years down the line, but that's a little optimistic. We'll say 6 months from now. Dallas Prince says, "I think we just need to get sick, then we'd be safe to party again. Just gotta survive the sickness." Dallas Prince, if only we knew that to be 100% true. Not to get into any of this kind of shenaniganry talking about this, because it's an infinite void and black hole of despair, and it is just a conversational vortex. But nobody knows for sure that if you get the virus once and survive it, whether your antibodies that you build up in response to that will be sufficient enough to protect you for long term, or if your antibodies will be sufficient enough to prevent you from being like basically a continued asymptomatic carrier. We just don't know yet, and that's the hardest part about all this, is we just don't know, and it's you can't trust anybody who says they know anything with any assurity, because they don't. There's just there are too many big old giant question marks in all of the data that's been collected so far for anybody to make any kind of real conclusive statements. But I totally get the sentiment, and I hope one day that very soon that they will, suggest that yes, if you have had the virus, you are then more or less immune, and you are good to be sort of reintegrated at large. But I'm just gonna wait for the A-OK. But you do you. Responsibly. Tardigrade says, in response to my question about abstinence, he wants to know if I've ever stopped completely altogether. If I want to completely stop altogether. The answer is, no, I don't. I will not say that weed doesn't have any downsides. That's absolutely not true. There are absolutely certain things about weed that can be detrimental to your life, and there are certainly things about weed that if people have certain personality types that can exacerbate those things. I recognize all of that to be true. I also recognize myself to be mildly psychologically addicted to weed. But I do, I mean, I can't know. You can't know these things. These things are unknowable. But I sincerely believe the upsides of weed outweigh the downsides for me. So I will continue to do it. Plus, I find it very enjoyable, even though I'm taking too long to do it. Tardigrade says, the pandemic has me thinking I'm addicted. Well, Tardigrade, everybody is addicted to everything in this pandemic. It is going to be one of the most unfortunate things from this pandemic. And then I'll stop talking about it. I'm sorry. There's so many knock-on second turn. The knock-on effects of the coronavirus, the things that we don't even, the second order, the third order effects, the things that we're not thinking about in the immediate term, i.e. getting the virus and dying, drowning in our own fluids in our lungs. You know, that's the thing to think about. Kids going back to school. Are kids going to go back to school? That's the thing to think about. But the other, I mean, like, there are a lot of smaller, other, little tiny, not tiny, none of them are tiny, but just things that are more abstracted, things that are one step removed. And, well, this one isn't even that far removed, but the spike in addictions that this is going to cause is really sad. I mean, it is very sad. Well, they're already starting to see the, after a little bit of hope in the good news of the somewhat turning around of the deaths of despair, of i.e. drug overdoses, suicides, things like that. Since the pandemic has begun, it looks like overdose deaths have now started to just skyrocket again. And it's not just people picking up addictions that they already had proclivities to. It is people who are going to become addicted to things that they weren't. People who are going to try alcohol for the first, like, you know, or binge drink for the first time and find out that it's wonderful for them. All of these things are going to happen in crazy quantities. Every part about this pandemic, every single part about it is addiction. Addiction fuel, I guess. Yeah, it's societal addiction fuel. I mean, the loneliness, the despair, the fear, the boredom, the sheer boredom, all of these things are contributing factors to becoming addicted to substances or having a substance abuse problem. And it's just going to continue to go up and up and up. And I honestly have no idea what to do about it. Flacco 12 says, I can't smoke. Frowny emoji. I'm on probation. I'm really sorry to hear that, Flacco 12. How dumb is it that your condition of a probation is that you cannot enjoy weed? Probation. What an incredibly stupid idea. I am really, really sorry, man. Sorry you had to go through that whole system, the whole U.S. criminal justice system. Boy, it's so nice, though, that the whole U.S. criminal justice is getting shat on by absolutely everybody. Because the U.S. criminal justice system has been a travesty of a joke, of a cruel, twisted husk of a dead golden calf for a long time. Flacco says, though, he is off next though. I'm going to say maybe month. Soon I'll be smoking with you. Oh, yep, right there underneath month. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Flacco. I hope you can join us soon. Um, I am going to go do my dab. Alberto, welcome, Alberto. He says, take a blinker. I'm going to assume maybe that's a dab. I'm going to do a dab. Before I go, I'll do a cartridge. And then, real quick, before I get to Tardigrade's question, welcome, Aaron, Mr. Poohhead. Thanks for joining us again. And Blemzer, I'm doing well. How about yourself? Now, excuse me, let's get to that dab like I promised. So, did get a good cue, from Tardigrade. Why did I decide to come out to California? Well, a multitude of reasons. The first and foremost, Chief, primarily, we came out here because my wife had a job for her, here. Her company is headquartered in Los Angeles. They have a huge presence in East Tennessee. And she was able to get herself moved out here. We both wanted to move out here. East Tennessee is a oh boy. It is not a good place. It is not filled with. It is a very backwards place. Okily dokily. I'm gonna do our dab here. This is some honey badger. I'd show the camera, but then I'd fear it would fall off, so I'm just gonna do it. You'll believe me when you see the. Almost made it. I almost made him proud. Dogs all around me. Wow. Okay. So, that was nice. Got me sweaty. It is actually quite hot now in Long Beach, California, even. Hey, buddy. I know you're there. My dog is right here. He was really insistent. I know. You gotta chill. Go. Go. Dogs. Oop, don't say that. That's like a summoning word. Right. Your question. Why did I come out here? East Tennessee sucks, to be honest. And I really, always wanted to live on the West Coast. I wanted to live, somewhere, yeah, I the West Coast, anywhere on the West Coast, seemed appealing to me. And through circumstance, just managed to end up in Long Beach. And I know you're not allowed to. It's so dumb and arrogant to be like, well, I found the best place to live in the world. Blah 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 blah. And especially having come from a cultural asswipe, shit stain, dookie, butt nowhere um, place like. Huh, I was keeping going. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in an area where uh, I had, you know, this is a real true story. True story. Let me go through chat, then I'll just give you a true story about the nature of the area I came from. Riley's real life says, sup. Well, sup yourself, Riley's real life. Riley's real life. That's hard to say. Riley's real life. Riley's real life. Riley's real life. It's fun to say, though. Good mouth feel, as they say. Riley's real life asks, what did you just smoke? That was some honey badger, some wedding cake batter, something. It was pretty good. Dab, as you saw. Fur Bear, well, welcome, Fur Bear. So glad of you to join us. It's been some time since, hey there, just had a nice dab of pre-98 Bubba Butter. Well, that sounds pretty good, Fur Bear. Looks like we did those around the same time. So, dab bros. Tardigrade says, do you have a day job, or do you just get to be awesome like this all a day? LMFA. Oh, don't denigrate yourself. There's nothing F about that. Whatever. I mean, you're allowed to call yourself whatever you want. I'm sorry. But, do I have a day job? Yes. Well, I'll tell this story again on a future live stream. There is a reason I have a little bit more free time than normal, though. But I do. I've had a couple of different day jobs since doing Weeds. Yes. More than one. More than two. Even. More than 2 careers, even, since doing Weeds. Which is crazy. Which is both emblematic of how long we've been doing this and the fickleness of the modern economy. Both of those are true from that one tale. Grovel said, have you heard Stephen Lynch's song Tennessee? No, I don't think I have, but I am Googling it right now. I would love to. Okay. I'm going to look at the lyrics real quick because I don't want to play the song. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, that rings kind of true. Yeah, that none of that seems out of my experience. So just a quick story, and then I'm done. And I'm sorry if anybody out there has heard this before. You know who you may be. I went to a school who, on the first day of my, Jesus, it's been so long. I think it was my sophomore year. I've told this story so many times and I've forgotten the year. I think it was my sophomore year. And the vice principal of our school had gathered sort of just one of the entire grades together. So I went to a high school with about 1,600 people total, about 400-ish per class on average, but I think it was more like classes of like 200 or like 600 freshmen and like 200 seniors. You can extrapolate what happens there, but about 1,600 students. So the vice principal literally, her job, what she had decided was going to be a wise thing to do with her time, was going to read a list, a big, giant, multi-page, printed off list, just like Word document, I guess. Excuse me for a moment. Bada boom. I almost answered this message. How rude of me. So sorry, guys. This is so incredibly rude of me. That's how high I am. Wow. So, yes, Vice Principal just reads a list of all of the verboten words, phrases, sayings, utterances, things that will get you suspended for saying them once. There's a zero tolerance policy. The expected slurs were in there, you know, everything, your racial, ethnic slurs, all those, good, they were in there. There's no such thing as, there should be no such thing as a zero tolerance policy. It just, but either way, it's good that they were punishing equally for saying bad, uttering terrible things about all kinds of groups of people. And then, of course, there's some more questionable ones on there, like queer, homo, fag. Sorry, didn't mean to offend anybody, but all those things, all the different time, but you know, apparently just calling somebody gay was an incredibly offensive thing to do. Not to gay people, but to the person. Like being called gay was a thing that you could get in a lot of trouble for. Again, not because of the offense to gay people, but because it was so, the stigma of being branded as gay was that bad. But that's not even the crazy part. She is reading the list, when all of a sudden she gets to a word, and there wasn't like a pause before it or anything. She's just robotically reading this list line by line, just going down. I guess just could not understand the just utter stupidity of this. The word that this year had been added to the ban list was Mexican. The place that I went to high school, a public high school, not that long ago, this would have, 15 years ago, something like that, 16, 17, somewhere in that realm, certainly less than 20. A public high school in the United States within the last 20 years would suspend students for calling somebody a Mexican. Again, with the implication, not that it was offensive to the people of Mexico or to any of the other many Central and South American and other Latin American and I guess even sort of island nations, the Caribbean area. Not that it was offensive to them, it was offensive to the fucking, it was considered, calling somebody who was a Mexican was considered so offensive to that person. Like, I think of you as a Mexican, like, that is so wounding to that person to be called a person from Mexico that you could get suspended for it. And of course, we had just one actual Mexican, somebody of Mexican descent, somebody who was a first generation, no, not first generation, just, his parents had immigrated here when he was, a year old or something. And he asked the question, well, what happens if you are a Mexican? And they, I think, suspended him. They certainly took him took him to the office for not for being a Mexican. That's not what they suspended him for or disciplined him, like, gave him detention or suspension, whatever kind of bullshit they did. They did it because he was being insubordinate. He was being funny. And he really was born in Mexico. So I went to a school that said, hey, if you call somebody a Mexican, that's the ultimate nasty thing you can say to that person. Not to the Mexican people, or even more broadly anybody else that we always sort of terribly refer to as Mexicans, even though they come from a variety of nations and cultures and backgrounds. No, it's offensive because to be a Mexican is that terrible of a thing. Yeah. That's why I want to get out of Tennessee and come to California. Looks like the hatred of people south of the border followed me across the country. Okay, Barry W. says, do you still eat Defoncé bars? Yes, I do. I haven't had one in a while, not since the pandemic has broken out, but I've had one as recently as, like, February, and they're still really good. Riley's Real Life says, thanks for the plug. Tell him to subscribe to our channel. Well, I don't know who R is, our in the hour, but subscribe to their channel. What could go wrong? You're welcome, Riley. Connor Guest says, Wheats, hell yeah yourself, Connor Guest. Connor also says, I've been sober from weed for about 2 weeks, but I'm living the high life through you guys. Well, Connor, I'm glad you are joining us, even without any additional enhancement. I hope your sobriety is chosen, like self-directed, and not because of some bullshit legal reason or lack of access. I hope it's just a personal decision. But whatever you decide, I continue to hope you enjoy that good life. Justin, welcome. Justin says, about to vape some bud in my packs. Well, enjoy, Justin, and welcome. Grovel says, in response to that incredible looking song from Stephen Lynch and how awful Tennessee is, I will listen to it. Those lyrics have got me very excited. I really appreciate that, Grovel. Now, unfortunately, I have to wrap up, guys. I said it was going to be a short stream. Dogs are going crazy. Food is here. And, I beat the munchies, but while food is here and brought to you, you gotta go. So real quick, let me say hello to everyone. Eduardo, hello. Grovel. Rotten Shot Esquivel. Well, welcome, Rotten Shot. He says, hi, bro, I'm Mexican. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us from south of the border or wherever you are currently residing or hanging out. Welcome, thanks for joining us. Grovel says, I'm from Arkansas. It can be similar here. Did you see that video of a guy holding the BLM sign in the most racist town in America? No, I have not, Grovel. If you wouldn't mind, I'm sure I can find it through Google, but I'll forget it otherwise. Feel free to leave it as a message or a comment in chat. I will definitely watch it. I will definitely watch it, but it's probably going to be terrible. Not terrible in that, just awful to watch. Jason Andrew, hello, goodbye. Dallas Prince says, I ate too much edibles one time and felt a thing called derealization. Felt like I wasn't in my own body. Brownies and tinctures. Sounds like you had a little bit of ego death, my friend. Never had it myself. Looking forward to it. To being able to be at that level at some point in my life. Stephanie says, good night. Furbear says, happy noms. Well, thanks, Furbear. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you, Dallas Prince. Thank you, everyone. It's been a real blast.